Hey guys, Chase with EOTECH. Tonight we are out here talking about night vision and lasers because those things are awesome. As you can see here, we got some super cool night vision and the long-awaited commercial OGL or on-gun laser. We've got some great videos talking about the power output, the specs for this laser, and going over the features and actually how to function this laser. But tonight, we are going to talk about how to actually shoot with a laser on your gun, because there's a lot of unique stuff you can do with a laser and a lot of things to keep in mind. This is definitely a tool of a professional, and you need to hold yourself to a high standard when employing a firearm and a laser. So first, let's go and talk about the sort of obvious thing. You can aim with this and shoot with it without using your optics. So let's all do the Mr. Rogers thing, go to the land of make-believe, pretend I'm wearing night vision. And I do not want to use my optical sighting system for whatever reason. I can go ahead and activate my laser looking through my nods or using the visible laser, see it with the naked eye, and I can look where I'm shooting, put the laser on target, and get my hits. Now, of course, we can do this on the gun just like you normally would, right? I can be behind the gun like this, I can hold it here, but I can also shoot in a lot of different ways. So say, for instance, I want to go ahead and shoot from the hip. Can I do that? Certainly. Could I go ahead and have it in a position of high retention? Maybe I'm working in an enclosed space and I need to take a quick snapshot. I can certainly have the gun compressed and activate the laser and take a very accurate, well-aimed shot that is still responsible using that laser sighting system. I can also use it from cover. So for instance, if I want to go ahead, put my gun up, rest on my invisible notional cover here, I could absolutely put the gun here and say there's a hole somewhere else. I can just look through that. My gun can be over here and I can still shoot. Anywhere I can see my laser and put it on the target, I can get my hits. And that is definitely the most obvious thing with lasers, but it's a very cool feature. And of course, you can extrapolate that out in a variety of ways. Anything you can imagine to do with cover, using your laser, you can do all of that. Now, let's move on to how you actually train that, because I know a lot of people do not have access, even if you can afford night vision and a laser, to get out and shoot at night. And that's okay. There are a variety of really quality dry fire training solutions out there that will either allow you to reset the gun pneumatically or through a variety of systems, or even will project a laser down your barrel when you press the trigger, reset your trigger, and what you can do is you can use your vis laser. Remember, if you're indoors, you're going to turn that to the low power setting so you're not going to hurt your eyes, and you can put your laser on target, press the trigger, get the laser shooting down the barrel, and as long as those two line up, you know you're on target and you're practicing your hits. Another thing that's doing is compensating for offset. So the neat thing is if you have a dry fire system that's actually going to reset your trigger and shoot the laser down the barrel, you can see the offset between that laser down the barrel and where the laser is on your gun, and you can learn that at different ranges, because laser offset is very much a thing, just like height over bore is for your optics. So these are things to keep in mind and definitely train with, and like I said, there's a lot of great solutions out there for that. Now, we've talked about a couple of cool things. Let's talk about a thing you need to hold yourself to a high standard of, and that is your emissions. Just like a firearm, right? We always keep this pointed in a safe direction. We're going to make sure that we keep our laser pointed in a safe direction. We're not going to put a round down range in an irresponsible manner. You're not going to emit a laser in an irresponsible manner. Even with eye-safe lasers, like the commercial OGL is, you still have to be very careful around people and animals. You can really damage eyes very quickly with lasers. And remember, it's not just other people. If you're in an indoor environment, lasers can reflect off of mirrors and windows and other glossy surfaces very easily, and you can mess yourself up in a hurry. So make sure you are always being cognizant, just like your muzzle, things on your gun, slave to your gun. It should be pretty easy to keep in mind, but it's something worth mentioning. Make sure that you're keeping your laser pointed in a safe and responsible direction for yourself and others, and you're only putting lasers out or emitting energy when it is responsible to do so. Finally, let's talk about communication. This is something a lot of people don't think about when it comes to lasers, but it's a very useful tool. So back in the old days when I was in the Marine Corps, we actually had different filters, and we'd put those on our lasers for different roles and responsibilities, so we'd actually know who was pointing at what when we're in a chaotic combat environment, especially at night. It's very easy to lose situational awareness in gunfights in general, but at night it is amplified. And so you can use lasers, whether you're using a filter or not, to communicate with teammates, to communicate with others in your AO. And remember, lasers like tracers work both ways, whether that's visible or non-visible. Most people, especially in near-peer environments, have night vision. So if you're emitting a laser, there's a good chance someone else can see it, whether that's on the ground or aerial assets. So keep in mind, just like you don't want to shoot tracers, you don't want to shoot unsuppressed if you don't have to, emitting a laser is a good way to let everyone around you know where you are and where you're pointing. And it's pretty easy to trace a laser back. But like I said, it can be a very useful communication tool, either to show people something that they need to see, to look at, to communicate with aircraft, to communicate with people over at a distance. It's a very useful communication tool. So you can work with others in your local community, work with your members of your team, and build comms plans based completely around lasers. One of the cool features for this is that when you actually have the filter on, or the protective cover on the flood, it will project our classic EOTECH logo or reticle. So that's kind of neat, and you can use that. Some people say you can use it to aim. I'm not suggesting that, but what you can do is you can use that, again, for a comms plan. Build it in for yourself. You're limited only by your own creativity. So that's a final note you can have for lasers, is they can be communication tools. And finally, the last thing I'm going to say about communicating with people is sometimes you're working where language barriers are a thing, or maybe people are too far away to hear you. Everyone in the world understands what a laser means. When people find lasers dancing around their chest, they tend to get the idea. So keep that in mind. If you want to run a visible laser sometimes, you can let people know what's going on. Anyway, guys, so this is a quick sort of overview on some things to keep in mind for ways you can use your laser you may not have thought of. Bottom line, you've got to get out there and train with it. You've invested in night vision, you've invested in the laser, invest the time in yourself because you are worth it. Get out there, live free, train hard. See you next time.